Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Hidden Pearls podcast. My name is Emma Kittle Ponce, and I am joined by my fabulous father, the one and only Coach Kittle. Pops, great to see ya. Welcome back to the
Great to be
podcast.
seen. Hey, thank you. It's good to be on the old podcast, Rooney. Thank you.
Absolutely. Well, this is the first week of July. What a summer we've had already. So, for this show, what we're going to do is check in for the upcoming interviews that we're doing this month. We're going to tell you about the Hidden Pearls studio content and what the energy focus for everything is. We're going to touch on TEU and a couple other fun things. So, let's roll into it, Pops. Let's do a little check in. How are you? How's Santa Fe?
Santa Fe's gorgeous. We've had a bunch of rain. It's rained like much more than they ever get here. So it's been crazy. So we've had 3 or 4 nights almost in a row of really deep thunderstorms and all that kind of stuff. So everything is growing like crazy. The desert is absorbing, and there's a lot of runoff. I don't know if people saw it, but a little bit further south, kind of southeast of Albuquerque, huge flash flooding and stuff, just wiping out some small towns and stuff. So a little bit dangerous in that regard. So the rain is good, but it's not an area that's used to that. So we're kind of holding everybody there in our thoughts. But anyway, other than that, though, here is green, and the cactuses are in bloom, and it's very pretty. So, and that great fresh, we're at 7,000 feet. So the air is crisp and beautiful. So grateful to be here. Bike riding is good, and getting a lot of work done. So the executive director of the organization has not been on me too much lately. So it's been pretty fun.
She's been busy.
Busy. Yeah. Distracted.
That's great.
So
Last year you did a pretty fun flower series on Instagram. Have you been taking some photos again?
you know what? And this just brings us full circle back to your little buddy Dane. You know, when you have a pup in the house, you walk every single day, and I haven't been walking as much. You know what I mean? So I haven't taken nearly as many photos as I usually do. I've been doing a lot more bike riding because I can cover more ground and go a little bit harder. It's easier on my legs too. So that I have not done as much. I see them, but then I'm cruising by and I don't take any pictures. So I need to kind of back up and do that. The choyas are particularly beautiful. They have this purple flower head, and they are really striking. So I'll try to get some out there to the folks who are just dying to see some
For the people.
cactus in bloom. Yes.
For the people.
Yeah, it's all
I
about
love
for
that.
the people.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
Well, great job. Well, Nashville is fantastic. For those of you who might not be following along on social media, my husband Cody and I recently purchased a cabin out by my little brother, and it's been completely meant to be. Just how everything kind of fell into place for us to be able to find this and everything to go through while we were in Japan, and then to come home and Claire, my sweet, wild little Gemini of a sister, and her parents, Marty and Shelly, and then some help from other people. They kind of surprised us with a little cabin renovation, and it's beautiful. It's so much better than I expected. So I'm feeling very loved and very held, and very much like I wake up in the Garden of Eden every day. I don't quite know how else to describe it. Like, just the nature and the animals. And I mean, it's really different. I've never really lived in a city. And so in Japan, we live in an apartment in a city, and we've lived in big cities the whole time. And you feel a little disconnected from the nature. Like, there's obviously beautiful nature in Japan, but it's not like you wake up and it's in your face. And here it's just all consuming. So I'm feeling very lucky. Exactly, Dad. Exactly. Like, I saw a groundhog yesterday. It was giant. I saw some baby deers playing in the stream. There's apparently, our neighbor yesterday asked if we saw the baby eagle. And I was like, well, I haven't seen the baby eagle, but I saw a giant hawk. And he's like, baby eagles are brown. So apparently there's like an eagle nest like right above my house. So I'm very excited about that. I just bought the Birds of Tennessee book.
Ooh, nice.
I know. We're gonna nerd out on some bird watching out here. And yeah,
Turtles.
oh yeah, there's been a lot of turtles. They like sunbathe on this stump. We have our view overlooks the river. So it's pretty special. And during my yoga, so we have a screened-in porch also, which has now become the most humid, which is fantastic. Hot yoga studio, like humidity at 100, and actually the temperature outside has been like 95 to 100. Today is stunning and it's a little bit cooler, but besides that, it's been so over like insanely hot. So it is truly a hot yoga studio and it's so awesome. And it's screened in, so there's no little bugs. So that's been incredible. And as I was doing my practice yesterday, I was looking around and like thinking about how like much creative energy is in Nashville. Like Nashville is just this mecca of music and art and expression. And this land feels the same way in a very like creativity doesn't just have to be like an idea or music or like a piece of art. It can actually be life. And so to witness that and like see it all around us and to have, I feel like I was called back here. So yeah, to have this, I just feel like it's a very creative and nurturing place to be. So I'm just happy and my skin's all dewy. Your girl's hasn't broken out yet. Like it's great. There's a lot of positives going on right now.
That's cool. Well, I've been to the house and the cabin, and it is really beautiful, and the access to the river. But one thing about Tennessee, especially that area, it is super green and super wet and really
Yeah.
beautiful. So all those things are great. So well, good. Well, welcome back to Tennessee.
Thank you. Thank you,
Very nice.
sir. Thank you,
Okay.
sir. Well, great. Okay, so speaking of Santa Fe, though, let's take a trip back to good old New Mexico.
Yeah.
You recently walked in the Pride Parade. Let's just touch on Pride and how that was for you. And what'd you do?
Let's see. Well, I marched with the. I mean, they kind of sent out an invite. I haven't been super active because we travel so much, but I thought I'd go down and meet a few people. So, the Democratic Party of Santa Fe had their little banner and folks out and all that kind of stuff. So I trotted down, and I will just say, I've been to one other down there, um, but didn't get too close to it. I wasn't marching then, and wasn't right in the middle of it, so didn't quite appreciate it. Talking to people, this was by far the biggest Pride parade, both the parade itself and the turnout that they've had. They probably had, I don't know, at least 30 floats or, cars and
Oh,
stuff.
wow.
It was huge. And then the crowd was unbelievable. I sent some, I think I posted one or two videos. I sent a shot of me afterwards, but in the crowd, it was like a sporting event. I mean, it was like, it's 11:30, 12 on a Saturday in Santa Fe. The weather was gorgeous. Sun was out, nice and cool and crisp, and folks were revved up. It was amazing. So, yeah, anyway, so kind of, walked the whatever 10 or 12 blocks, the way they wind you through and all that kind of stuff. So, it was just a really cool, super inclusive, a lot of love. It was really beautiful event. And I just, kind of kudos and hats off to Santa Fe. It's one of the reasons I love living here. Just inclusion is just not a second thought. I mean, between all the different kind of heritages that, have commingled to make New Mexico what it is, between indigenous and Spaniards and Mexicans and African Americans and everybody else. It's just a inclusive place. And so, Santa Fe is particularly inclusive around the GLBTQ stuff. And it was really cool. So anyway, it was really fun to be a part of. And I had more necklaces on and leis and, if it was a rainbow, you could have it. So anyway, but it was really fun. So excited about that and just grateful to be in a place that has that much love and inclusive in it. So it was really cool.
That's really special. And I love the
Yeah.
photos. They're on social media if you haven't seen them. Yeah, Santa Fe is pretty cool. And I think like if you've been to Santa Fe, you know what we mean. And we've said this so many different times on our show, but the energy there and like the amount and the access to spirit and this like deeper connection and guides. And it's just like this deep love that I feel like is in the air and it's in the earth and it's everywhere. Like you feel it on the wind as it blows through the city. And it just seems like there's this higher consciousness of we're all one and like a deeper recognition. And it's easier to step in and recognize that, I think, in some places. And Santa Fe is definitely one of those places.
Yeah, certainly is for me. I mean, you got mountains everywhere and just living at altitude and all the things that are around and being part of the desert too. There's just this very easily accessible, kind of what feels like for me this deep connection to the Earth Mother. Kind of feel it and all that kind of stuff. So if nothing else, I'm a child of the Earth, and
Absolutely.
that energy is super well connected for me. So it's really beautiful place to be. Yep.
It is. And speaking of,
Speaking of,
gosh, there's one other thing that I wanted to share, but I can't find the exact address of it, but that's okay. So, another exciting, special, fantastic thing is happening in Santa Fe, either end of July or beginning of August. But dear friend, our dear friends Stuart and Hank are
mm,
opening their first art gallery together. And they are also our neighbors. And Stuart went through Kundalini teacher training with mom and I in Santa Fe a few years ago. And we have literally just been such good friends ever since. And he was a huge, well, both of them, but they were a huge part in us moving to Santa Fe and mom and dad finding their property. And now so Stuart was in the teacher training with us. His husband, Hank, is an incredible artist. He does colored pencils and an oil-based art, and it's this like super fine detailed that he has this crazy microphone or like microscope that he works on. It's amazing, and they're super super detailed. And so they've been wanting to do this for a long time, and this like once again this divine location just came into be. And I was trying to look up the address, but I remember the actual address number is 108, and we were very excited about that because it's a very sacred number. But it's right off the plaza, and Hank's art's going to be in there, and so is mom's. So my mom's photography is going to be in there, and we've been working really hard to pick out some prints and some of her art, and just like playing with the different tones and the printing and the framing, and it's been really fun to see her kind of express and create on a professional level again. And so that's going to be opening like end of July, beginning of August, but it's called the Nine Muses Gallery.
yeah, yeah, they're
Nine
very
Muses
excited.
Fine Art.
Yep. So I had a big weekend with Stuart and Hank. So we went to a play at the Santa Fe Playhouse, and then hit the Pride After Dark little gathering. So that was pretty fun seeing those guys. So yeah, and Stuart is all intertwined with getting the gallery open. So all the remodeling's done. Now they're just trying to kind of coordinate, set everything up, and final details before the opening. Yeah, he's hoping to open the last week of July, I think, is kind of what he's targeting, but he doesn't have the official party date yet. So
Yeah.
anyway, more on that later.
Yeah. And if you want to buy photos from mom, you're going to be able to. I'm so excited. Actually, so obviously she took a photo of me. She likes photographing her family a lot, but there's this really cool horse photo, and Claire and George have this hanging up in their house, and my mom has it hanging up in hers, and I have a print. I don't know where I'm hanging stuff in the cabin yet, but I'm going to hang stuff up here. So we all have this one horse print, which is actually from Dove Creek Ranch. It's a horse rescue in Canyon, Texas. And then there's another big print. It's of me, me under the moon doing something witchy. And then we also have a really cool one of dad on his motorcycle.
Yeah. So anyway, so those will be, I guess she'll have at least some framed and available, and then they're making some prints to, so folks can run off with those as well. But anyway, so yeah, should be pretty cool. Yeah, she does. It's all black and white, and it's been really fun to see her progress as she's gotten more and more comfortable with the new giant printer she got and how to manage it. So the two of you spent a lot of time on that, but it looks like it's all paving its way, and so the back room is all getting stacked with all these prints. So that's really fun. We're
Yeah.
excited about it.
Art is everywhere. Okay. So
Okay. Yes. Check.
next, let's bring it back to Nashville. So we're just hopping back and forth. So we just had TEU. Is this year 4?
Yeah.
Yeah, year 4.
Yeah.
Look at that. It started as this little idea where we were storing all this stuff in our garage. And now it's this massive force that raised over $1 million for charity this month.
Yep. Exactly.
Take it away, Bruce. Tell us a little bit
Yeah.
about it. What was
Well,
it?
we hosted Vanderbilt. We've been tweaking with the format a little bit because, this is kind of off season for the guys. It's right, 2 weeks before the 4th of July. So people are getting ready for that. But it's right after OTAs. So if everybody's not familiar with that. So kind of for about 3 to 4 weeks, depending what year you are as a veteran or not, um, between middle May and middle June, folks are with their teams practicing and all that kind of stuff. So this is kind of right after that point, and then before people try to finalize their August stuff. So anyway, so we had Monday night another rooftop little gathering. It was really fun at the Thompson downtown Nashville, and that was beautiful. And all our bunch of sponsors there and all that kind of thing. It was a really fun event. It's a gorgeous view. And then Tuesday, Wednesday, we had some classroom stuff in the morning, and then the afternoons got outside and on Tuesday did routes, mostly all kind of pass stuff, and then on Wednesday, a little bit more in my wheelhouse. We worked on actually pass protection. A lot of tight ends don't get to spend much time on that, so we did. We were working on pass sets and different variations on that. But anyway, good time was had by all, and then yeah, and so Tuesday night was one you'll remember, but we had quite a concert fundraiser. So all the proceeds went to benefit this. It was at the bowling something. I am totally blanking on the
I
name of the.
know.
Sorry about that, guys. It was a really cool event.
It was awesome. The venue was awesome.
They have bowling
Like
alley and they
highball?
host concerts. But anyway, so it was really cool there. But we had Jelly Roll, Tyler Rich, and 3 or 4 other people that
Chase
other than
Rice, John Party,
yes, thank you.
Sophie something. She was
Yep.
fantastic, and I think she's gonna come to Kittlefest now.
Okay. So anyway, it was really quite a concert and all that kind of stuff. And the fans turned out and it was just packed and it was really a great event. So that was great. And then after Wednesday, it's kind of a closer. They did a big Airbnb at a beautiful home. It used to be, I think, Tammy Wynette's and whoever she was married to. I'm sorry, my country music isn't very good, but anyway, but it was one of their original places just south of downtown, and it was absolutely gorgeous. So, but we had a
Yeah.
little pool party there. So anyway, but we had 70 tight ends again or so. So we've kind of fluctuated, but it's about the average, and we had unbelievable sponsors, between Charmin and Bud Light and some other folks. And as you said, this year we broke the $1 million mark for youth programs in kind of Nashville area and a few other locations. So we're really excited to be able to do that. And the tight ends got together and kind of shared stories, lessons, and camaraderie, and a couple cold beverages. And so that was pretty good. So everybody's pretty fired up and raring to go. And then they get a little time off. And I think all the teams report July 23rd. So it feels a little bit earlier. It is because they moved that first game up, but that's how it goes. So anyway, so everybody's really, this is the last month of kind of that getting ready for the season and camp and all that kind of stuff. So here we go, NFL 2024. We are right on the doorstep, and for me, tight end U kind of kicks. It feels like that's like the first entryway gateway to the season because it's like
Yeah.
now all things shift. I sent a text to George afterwards. I go, now all eyes shift to Mordor. You kind of got to like, because before that it's kind of lax and you're kind of comfy, but now I mean there's a countdown
It's
now
time to
because
go.
yeah, and so you got to, and not like they haven't been working out, but and he's got a full crew at the barn. You've been over there, and there's a pretty good
Mhm.
group of guys, at least 10 or so folks working out all the time, and great facility. So that's really exciting, and they'll just keep kind of counting down. They're coming rallying after being at the McCaffrey wedding, and now it'll be hard work until he departs. So it's pretty exciting. So we're getting ready to go again. Load up, got the suitcases dusted off, although they haven't really been gathering much dust. But anyway, so that's the little bit of the tight end review. And special thanks to Greg Olson, who was great again and really great mentor and teacher and all that kind of stuff. And then old Travis, our boy Kelsey, um, just he's a bright light, and it's really fun to have him. So he was great, and so we really enjoyed having him there, and just a magician on the field with the things that he does as well, and all the talented bodies that were there, just unbelievable. When you see everybody, and tight end position is kind of unique that way, just how fluid some guys are. Other guys are, big, thick, strong and all that kind of stuff, but a lot of variation in some of that stuff, but really amazing people, amazing athletic abilities. And it was really fun to be around them. It was really a treat for me to get, be around those guys and have a chance to talk some football and do all that. So really enjoyed it. And I'm grateful for that opportunity.
Absolutely. Well, were there any standout players? I know we had some new quarterbacks with us this year, but were there any like tight ends, a little forecasting, maybe tell people to check out?
Oh, I mean, for me, all the big, long, tall guys, they all kind of look the same. So I don't know. I would not. I mean, there's some great players there. So
Yeah.
from
Kind of
Jay
everybody.
Ferguson, yeah. So I don't know that I'd single really anybody out that way, but it was really cool to see everybody and how they were working and getting together and doing all that kind of stuff. So no, I would just say flip on the old screen and follow your team and see what happens and let the chips fall where they do, because it's going to be a pretty fun year again. So we're excited about it.
We had Dak Prescott this year.
Dak was great. Yeah, I had a chance to talk to him a little bit. Didn't hound him too much, but it was really fun that he was there. And I know when I did see him, I saw him because he went to the concert on Tuesday night, and I had a chance to talk to him for a few minutes. And uh, and his wife was there, and uh, think she had a great time. So Claire does all the stuff for the wives and girlfriends and all that kind of thing. And so anyway, and I told her that if Dak doesn't come back, she's always welcome to come. And and he goes, well, I think she had a good enough time that he goes, I'll probably be coming if I'm invited again, because she had a pretty good time. So then he gave me a hard time about why the Niners always beat up so bad on the Cowboys. I said, I don't know, man, you just kind of bring it out in us. So, but anyway, I know he is looking to fix that, and they're very disappointed about their season. So he is a great player, really great human being, and it was really fun having him around. He was a great influence. They one of the cool things that we do with the guest tight ends or with the quarterbacks. There's a time where they come together and we give them about a half hour, and each of them get a few minutes just to talk about, as a quarterback, what are you looking for from your tight end? And how can the tight end, be in more kind of synchronicity with that? And so I thought there were some great tips on, understanding how the QB thinks, make sure you understand the full concept of the play, where you fit into the play, got to know defenses and all that kind of stuff. But they gave some great stuff. I think one of the best pieces, and I think this is true for any player, is, they really, I think they all kind of talked about, know who you are as a player.
Mhm.
You have to know your strength and your weaknesses, and you got to be able to play to those things. You're always working on your weaknesses, but you got to know what you're going to do, because it really changes how you play. So if you're, super twitchy isn't your thing, then you got to find other ways to be able to get open and be relevant and all that kind of stuff. So anyway, but that was great, and Dak was really good, and we had some other really good people there too. So CJ Beathard was there again, Fitzpatrick was there again, and oh geez, Hasselbeck was there also. So that was really cool. So anyway, great collection of QBs, and grateful to all them for coming as well.
Definitely. And I think that's
Yeah.
such it's you're so good at I mean, you come at it from, like, a coach perspective, but creating the space for a quarterback to tell you what you want or what they want and what they're looking for, I think is so obviously important. Like, when you step back and you're like, "Oh, yeah, obviously you should do that," but, like, how many people have never had the opportunity or even thought to, like, ask a quarterback that or, somebody else in your life that? So it's a pretty cool takeaway.
Yeah. No, it really is. I mean, for anybody who's going to be on the receiving end, if you can watch tape with your QB and like figure out what they're looking at, because you think know, but they might be reading the strong safety versus the free safety, or watching the rolled corner and all that kind of stuff, because their view is a lot different than where you are as a tight end, because you're usually on one side of the field or the other, and you can kind of see it, but not in the same way. But the more you can understand exactly where their eyes are going on different plays and why they're going there and how they read their priorities and all that stuff, it just really helps you find space and get open. So that's really what it's all about. So anyway, yeah. All right. Tight end
Awesome.
you.
Tight end
Bam.
you. What a great year, and just to raise that much money, and we had, female flag football. That was pretty cool.
That was super cool on Tuesday. Yeah.
It was
During,
really cool. Claire was on a
after
panel. We were
they
all
had,
crying in the back listening to her.
so they had, I think, three different women athletes, and Claire was one of them. And they were just kind of talking so these were all high school, ladies, girls, women. I don't know exactly the term, but anyway, and they all were participating. And so in Tennessee, they have both the AAU women's flag football, and now the high schools have all adopted it. So it's a recognized sport. So I think there were 5 different high schools there, and I think 3 different AAU teams, the way they come together. But anyway, that was really fun. And boy, were there some players. I
Yes.
mean,
So
uh,
fun to watch.
oh my gosh. I think it was Logan Thomas's team. They didn't give up a point, and they had 4 women on that team that were just dogs. I mean, she had 2 pick sixes. I mean, intercepted and returned it for a touchdown twice. I mean, like, holy cow. Anyway, yeah, that was really fun. So after the workout on Tuesday afternoon, they came. We had a chance to chat with them for a little bit, the panel discussion, and then we played some flag football with them. So that was pretty cool. So the players got to commingle, and I think they all had a good time, and we were grateful to have them there. So yeah, thank you. That was really fun.
Yeah. All right. Any final thoughts on TEU or special
Let's
thanks to
see.
Lee Taylor PR for making it incredibly special for especially the girls. But yeah, Taylor's a monster when it comes to PR and planning things. So her team
Yep.
was phenomenal and just how seamless and special everything was too. So that was really great. And Rubicon and Chubbies and everyone is just always happy. Like everyone is just happy to be there. So that was really, really fun.
Yeah, the Chubby's crew was unbelievable. So just again, custom stuff for all the players. Great stuff. I think they've really accelerated their athletic wear is really, really since George got on board. I mean,
Yeah.
not like he's driving it, but they have been kind of having that conversation about having much more technical, really quality kind of athletic gear. And guess what's on the horizon for Chubbies?
What?
New women's line.
Yes.
So
Do
that's
we
pretty
know when it's
cool.
coming out?
We don't yet. So, but they're in the works, and Claire's going to be a special consultant.
Absolutely.
So that's kind of fun. So anyway, so there'll be a women's version for the Chubbies coming out. So keep your eyes peeled for that. So yeah, and I special shout out to Amanda over at Rubicon who just orchestrated the whole thing so well,
Yeah.
brilliantly with all the different donors, and just so much thanks to all the sponsors. I came home with a brand new free pair of cowboy boots,
Yeah.
and I can't even list all the stuff. It's just amazing. So it was really cool. So
Yeah.
okay, let's get rolling. Okay, what else we got?
Yoga teacher training.
Yeah,
How's it
bam. So
going?
it's good. I'm halfway mark. So it's just about
Oh, you're
every other
already
week.
halfway through?
Yeah. We're done the
Wow.
last week of August.
I have
So,
something funny to tell you. I had a call with Denise. I did a numerology reading for her. And so any listeners to the podcast, I don't know if you guys have noticed this, but I've never had someone call this out before. But I was saying something to her and I said, okay. And she's like, oh my God. She's like, you and your dad say okay the exact same.
that's funny.
I know. I know.
Huh. I hadn't noticed that.
And
I'll have
just
to watch.
okay, okay, okay. So you guys just say it the exact same. So I was laughing pretty hard at that. Okay, so
Yeah.
anyway.
Any, so last weekend, so it's kind of a combo between learning their flow, getting all the moves right, doing all that kind of stuff. Last weekend we had 6 hours of lecture and interaction with Janelle, who was covering the anatomy portions, which, I've got those books. I did the reading. There's so much to it. Oh my gosh, the
Yeah,
body is just so
wow.
amazing. Just the way it releases chemicals and coordinates and everything's woven. It's like somebody thought about how to put it together. It's pretty amazing. For that. And then we had 6 hours, not quite, of yogic philosophy, which was
Mm,
really interesting. So deep look kind of into the Hindu and India traditions of yoga and where they came from and some of the thought concepts around that piece and how it mixes in and what's religion, what's not, and spiritual universal energy, God, all that kind of stuff. So it was a interesting, didactic kind of conversation for quite a bit. So, but anyway, I mean, I think for me, just the knowing and I'm aware of this, but the more detail you get into how deeply folks have been thinking about this stuff for 2,500 years, like a long, long time
yeah,
and been messing with it. And the asanas actually are more of a recent kind of development. The breath work and the meditation have been a part of it for a long time, but, so there's the 8 limbs of yoga, and that is the movement is just one part of it. And that's pretty profound in that kind of way. Because certainly in the United States, it seems to be the dominant thing that people think about, that yoga is all about movement. So I saw a great quote the other day that yoga is not about touching your toes. It's about what happens on the way down. And I think people really kind of forget that. So, but anyway, it's been a great deep dive for me. I'm learning more about yoga in general and the moves and how to move the body. And I just got the fourth part of our Warrior series recorded, and I know you're working on getting that uploaded for folks. So
it's up.
that
It's up.
that is okay. So anyway, so that's a little introduction to that series with a bunch of modifications. So I'm trying to do more and more yoga flows, helping people just really understand what it is we're trying to accomplish and take the pressure off and make it as accessible as possible. So, and I know you've done a bunch of that as well with your hip openers and all that kind of stuff. So we'll just keep doing that. And hopefully that'll be an
But
offering.
yeah, I agree. But I think the unique thing about you in teaching and why I'm so happy that you're offering classes now is that you're a 65-year-old man who's been relatively extreme on his body and still is every day. And
Yep.
so, not just so yes, using yoga for the physical part, but then observing the other energetic components of it and how it impacts your whole life. So I think just seeing you move and going through it at your pace, I think is really wonderful. And people can learn a lot from just like how things feel when you slow down and when you are intentionally trying to take up more space. And another thing that, as we started filming these, I purchased some like double wide mats. And they're so fun because instead of feeling like you have to stay in this linear space or like my hand, like when I do a push up, like my hands go off the mat, or if I'm doing a lunge and I step my foot up, like I'm off the mat most of the time. And I know you are too. So to have a bigger space and more space to kind of play and move around in that way, I think it kind of reminds us that you can take up a lot more space and yoga doesn't just have to be this like small, tight, tiny little package.
For sure, because some of the hot yoga classes and studios, they put you mat to mat to mat, and you're maybe got a couple inches in between them. And
Which is great, which is still an awesome
yeah,
experience.
it is. It's just a different kind of way to be a part of it. So you just, you're right on your mat. Although at Blissful, get to know your neighbor. Here comes my foot.
Yeah,
They do a
yeah,
lot.
yeah.
They do a lot. But I do appreciate your comment, though. I think for folks, if they've tried hot yoga or whatever kind of yoga, kind of the modality anymore is pretty hot, really humid, and it's just bam, bam, bam. It's almost, it's like not even one breath, one move sometimes. And 10 years ago, I was okay with that, kind of a like high intensity workout kind of thing, but anymore, with my joints, it's just not working. And I'm not quite, I want to get into more yin, kind of the slower, really sink in, let gravity do the work, all that kind of stuff. But certainly my flows, it's 2 or 3 long breaths, let your body get accustomed to it, let it grow into it, feel it, and all that kind of stuff. So the whole thing really for me is about just you, your body, your breath, and your mat, and kind of disconnecting the mind and just letting movement and your breath just like fall into that river and just float with it for a while. And when you go nice and slow and you can control your breath and you're connected to your body, you can go, ooh, there's my hip, like what's he saying today? That kind of thing. So anyway, so it's a little bit more slow and controlled. So if you're looking for more of that, oh, uh,
I don't know
I
how I
don't
did
know.
that.
I don't know. Got a new camera and I just got a close up. Okay.
Oh my
Easy,
god.
easy there.
Okay, we fixed Bruce's camera.
Yeah. All
Excellent.
right, Em, let's talk about your end. I've got a couple of the podcasts that we're going to do if we want to mention those really quick, just to tie that up.
Well, yeah,
So,
let's talk about what is going on Hidden Pearl Studio this month. So, for our
okay.
7th month, the energy that we are looking into is our aura. And so, the 7th energetic body is all about our auric field. And so, your aura, if you've never kind of tapped into that energy, is it's like when someone comes up to you, when someone might be like when someone enters your space and you can just sense things, or you can feel like something's a little bit off, or, if you know that someone's not in a very good mood and you kind of like try to bring some positivity through it, it's like, how can your energetic being affect someone else's and the energy around you? And so it helps you to kind of modulate and regulate things. Your aura can be super protective, it can be super safe. And when your aura is really strong, it's easy for us to differentiate between, is this mine or is this someone else's stuff? And so if you've ever been kind of like that fix it person of, I have to fix everything, I'm going to fix everything. Like if dad calls me and I'm like, okay, I need to fix everything for him, I need to handle this. And I just like, I'm thinking about it, I'm up at night, that it can be a sign that your aura is weak. Now, I will say that as a mother or a parent, I think that there is that kind of level of innate, like, let me pull you under my wing and take care of you. And so this is not to discredit any of that, but it is to help you identify, like, is this something that I really want to put my energy into? Am I consciously choosing to pour energy into this? Or is my aura kind of weak and I have this energy leak and I'm not conscious of where my energy, where my mind, where my physical energy is going? So that's kind of a little snippet on the aura. And I guess then when it's strong, it's really easy to say, like, that's yours and I love you. And maybe I'll light some candles and I'll put a picture of you on my altar and I'll pray for you and I will offer something. I'll give you a solution, but I'm not going to be hung up on it and it's not going to consume everything that I'm doing. So that's kind of the aura.
Yeah, and I appreciate those and what you said about that, and just having real clean boundaries. I mean, it's something we've talked
Yeah.
about before. You might be trying to fix others. You might be just it could be people pleasing. It could be there's a whole lot of different ways in which that can be manifested
Yes.
about leaking. Your energy's going out, and we always talk about there's only so much fuel in the tank, and everybody that you give gas to, you're going to be limited. So be careful about that energy and protect it and make good choices because everything you say yes to on one hand precludes everything you might say yes to on the other. So your no's give your yeses meaning. So it's really important. So I'm all for that and being authentic and true and honest. And if you don't want to do something, don't do it.
Don't
There
do
you
it.
go.
And I think it's
So
also like, I think exactly what we were saying about yoga before this and just how, like, if you don't take the time to slow down and like you were saying, like, this is my hip, wow, this is how it connects down, wow, now I'm feeling that I'm actually really tight on the inside of my thighs and I can see how that might pull into my calf and my foot. Like, you start to see how everything is connected. It's the same
yeah,
thing energetically wise and mentally and emotionally and spiritually. And so another thing that this month our classes are asking you to do is to sense into the energy all around you. So one of my classes is literally just, we're going to sit, close our eyes, and it's, can you focus and can you feel into the energy in front of you? Can you focus and feel into the energy? And we go all around, up, below, and just kind of feeling into it, because sometimes there's blind spots. And sometimes there's just times that we haven't put the conscious energy into feeling into it. And so this month, what we're trying to do is take you around, get you to know your aura. And then sometimes it'll be really obvious, like, wow, I am stuck in this spot or in this part of my life. Like, I am really stuck on my relationships or my social life. And there's a big energy leak there, or, vice versa. So I'm excited about it. My classes, like I said, I have an energy forecast where I kind of dive into this, offer some reflection. I have 4 movement practices. So one's kind of, 2 of them are a flow strength based practice. And I am having so much fun training at the barn every day. I go in and Josh Cuthbert, Georgia Strength Guy, does like a workout for all the women who are in there. And it's so much fun to work out in person with people
mhm.
and to be around people and to kind of get that inspiration. So I actually pulled some inspiration from one of my classes from, we did a lunge complex workout with Josh last week. And so one of my classes is kind of inspired from that. And then another one is all about balance and finding warrior 3 and like big open space. And like we were talking about earlier, taking up a lot of space and intentionally taking up that space. And then I have 4 different meditations. So it's great. So it's kind of just feeling into that. And then Pops has his Mindful Mondays. We got Mindful Mondays coming out every Monday. We got,
Yeah, and
yeah, go ahead.
And those are all centered on. So as Emma's been moving up the bodies, I've been moving up the chakras, and so we are at the 7th chakra, which is the crown chakra, right above the head,
10th
and
gate.
it is about kind of trusting, learning how to trust. So we move from intuition with your third eye chakra, and they're really kind of connected in a way, but it's kind of seeing beyond the tangible, connecting to universal energy, and feeling your energy internally. And so that's really the meditations are all kind of around those items and trying to get people to do that. Em, I wanted to ask you with this energetic stuff, I always wonder because there's this kind of spiritual sense of feeling the energy, but I often wonder too, like sometimes our bodies get into like they're just surviving because of all the
Yeah,
stress and anxiety. And it's like, you know, I'm finding like you almost have to help people be able to kick the body in neutral and say you're safe in this space. And
exactly.
you don't have to be in survival mode because you almost have to get past all those normal kind of preconditioned filters and barriers that we put up in order to kind of open yourself to the possibility of being able to even feel your own energy, let alone start to pick up all this energy that's around you and all that kind of stuff. So I think at some point we should do a deeper dive into the energetic pieces, because I know some people are like, you guys are wacko. Like, I know you have molecules in you, but like, what the hell are you guys talking about? But, because I know people, that see colors, around people's
Mhm.
energetic field. And when they get near people, they can literally feel it. And if you touch someone, you can feel it, all that kind of stuff. So there's a lot to this piece, and it's very mysterious in a way, but in another way, it's can be really heart opening as well. So anyway, yeah. So the Mindful Mondays, the seventh chakra. Let's see. Do you want me to go through some other stuff, or what are you doing?
Well, before we do, I think you're totally right. And since I edit all of the classes, I've listened to all of your like the things that you've said in Shavasana, and it's actually like a very common thing to what I was saying also. But we do the yoga practice, we do the breathwork practice, we do the mindfulness practices to create this space for you to have a reaction, like you as the listener, you as the observer, you as the practicer, you as the student. And so these different classes, right? So like the two flow style classes, they're a little bit longer and they're a little bit harder. They're about 30 minutes each. But at the end, it's about cleansing and creating all this space in your body and challenging yourself and kind of feeling that union of breath and yoga and keeping your mind focused in one area for 30 minutes. So then at the end, when you're laying there, that integration space, you can listen, and those things that like may have been buried beneath the stress and that survival mode, like that's when those things start to come up. So the whole point of yoga is to, well, not the whole point, but one of the big pieces of yoga is to create this like safe stressor on your body, on your mind, on your emotions, on your spirit, so that it calms and neutralizes everything down, and then you can listen and you can really hear that internal wisdom. So
Right.
right. And so when you are in that stress response, or when you are like, that's why we say, like, have these tools in your tool belt. So, like, it's not just like you're going to breathe and all of a sudden, like if you're in a stressful situation and you breathe and all of a sudden, like the breath itself is going to like give you all this wisdom. Like the breath is a pathway to get to your new like choice of response. So it takes you out of that reaction energy. And then that literally, if you can switch from the reaction to the choice, you can, it'll change your entire life. It's like this ripple effect that spreads into every single area of your life.
Yeah. I mean, it's moving. The breath helps us avoid the reaction and calms down kind of the sympathetic response of fight or flight. And then in that gap with our breath, and then our body calm down. And because if your breath is calm, your body calms down. And when your body calms down, your mind calms down.
Yes.
Then you're in a space where you can kind of see really what's going on around you, and then make a choice consistent with your values and your vision about who you want to be in those moments. And so, and it's not easy, and it's hard, and it takes a lot of practice and work. But what I do appreciate you saying though is the yoga flow, the 30 minutes, the last 6-10 minutes that you spend laying on the ground thinking you're not doing anything, all of the other stuff is kicked into neutral. And then your barriers are down, and then the internal work can really take place. And even some days, if you don't feel it or know consciously, it is still going on. Your body's
Yeah.
still doing the thing. The nervous system is being reset, and it's a great thing. And just remember, because you're connected to the Earth Mother, she's pretty sneaky, and she will transmute all of the stuff that you don't need, all of the wounds and injuries and pain, and just get sucked right out of you into the earth, and then she'll change it.
I've been doing a lot of numerology readings this month, and one
Yeah.
of the numbers that people have, it's your gift number. And the gift number, the text or the way that we explain it is, your gift number is already there. You just have to choose to receive it. Like it's there if you think that you are worthy and you are deserving of it. And if you choose to receive it. And in every single reading that I have had with people this month, it's like it's one of the things that people have been really resistant to because they haven't wanted to just accept that they're naturally good at it. Or I mean,
Mm.
and it's such a beautiful reframe because we're naturally good at everything, and we just kind of tell ourselves that we're not or that we can't. And I think if we can just choose to step in to this new learning and into this space of how we want to be and how we want to show up, then everything can be a gift to us and everything can be a lesson. And I love like your mindful parenting class this month is, what's it called? Use the
Using the difficulty.
using the difficulty.
Yeah.
And it's so great.
Yeah. Shall I talk about that for just, you can check that out. So this is episode 6, I think, using the difficulty. So I kind of go back and I look in the mindful parenting thing. I kind of highlight some of the points that in the podcast with Adam Skolnick. So if you haven't listened to that, I encourage you to do so. Unpack a little bit more of that. But kind of the theme was using the difficulty, which I saw in a clip with an actor, which everyone would know, and I can't remember who it was. But um, anyway, it won't go through the whole thing. But anyway, he had a situation in a live play where something happened it wasn't supposed to happen, and the director said use the difficulty. And so if it's a comedy, fall over the chair, it was, and make people laugh. If it's a drama, come in and be hurt and work it in. And he used that with his kids. And so I kind of talk about how to talk to them about the difficulties in their life and using that as a way to gain strength, as an opportunity to learn and to grow. And so anyway, there's just a kind of framework in there for that. So that's the mindful parenting for this month, and hope folks enjoy it. So yep, we're just kind of taking small. And on that, so I'm trying to match some podcasts. So I'm doing some NFL related. So I've got Adam Skolnick, and then I've got a commitment with John Bosa, Nick Bosa's and Joey Bosa's dad.
I am so
So
excited
he's
for
going
this
to be
show.
on the show. I don't have a date for recording yet. So until I do so, it's an alleged. No, John's pretty good.
John.
And then for folks who know, the Niners just signed Logan Thomas. So Logan has, how many kids do they have?
5 sons.
5 sons, and he's in year, I think, 12 of his
Yeah.
NFL career. I got to look. But anyway, so I thought it'd be really fun to have a player on who has navigated with, 5 kids through 12 years of the NFL, and just talk a little bit about how they've survived. And he's changed teams several, more than a few times over those years and all that kind of stuff, and what that means and how they've organized their lives and all that kind of stuff. So those 2 guys are on for sure. I'm not going to announce anybody else until I get firm commitments, but we've got a list of others out there. So we're hoping to get at least, I'd like to get 4 or 5 more of those shows in, just to talk a little bit more with live bodies about what it meant to parent. So pretty cool that way.
We're also doing
Okay.
some Pride related shows this month. We had all of our shows already recorded for last month, and then we're like, oh, we did not do a Pride show. So we're doing 2 for July. So we have Free Hearts.
Yep.
Talk about it, Pops. Can you book these?
Yeah. So we have Susan Cottrell from there. So if you haven't heard her, she's got a TED Talk out there that's got a million views and all that kind of stuff. But basically, Freed Hearts is trying to push back against kind of the traditional conservative Christian, particularly Christian perspective, but religious perspective that critiques people of the same gender and or others, the way in which people express their love and sexual identity. So they're very supportive of the GLBTQ community, and are kind of pushing back about that, about what it means for, and their framework is really in that Christian tradition, but trying to liberate it. They call it the open and affirming. And so for those who might remember, I've got a master's of divinity and I'm ordained with the United Church of Christ. And they were the very first Protestant mainline denomination to ordain their first openly gay pastor back in 1972. So they've been pretty far out there for a long time, and they've a long time had an open and affirming coalition, they call it, helping churches kind of make that transition into welcoming people from the GLBTQ community. So this is in that vein, and most of their stuff is targeting, responses there, and or just hate messages that go out, and the violence, particularly against trans women and women of color and men of color and that kind of thing. So anyway, they're doing a lot of work. So we're really thrilled to have them and just have a conversation with her about her work and her passion for freeing up hearts, because let's be free, and consenting adults having the freedom to love who they want to love and in the way in which they feel like they want to love. So that's really what that one's about. So we're looking forward to that one. And then the other one we have, so Niner Pride. So the San Francisco 49ers do a great job with this. So I think 4 or 5 years ago, but since George has been there, they organized Niners Pride. The current coordinator for that is our good friend, Nick Clark. Some folks will remember us giving him kudos. He kind of does our tech stuff in the back of some of our shows. He will again probably in the fall. So Nick organized that. And then we also have Christina Jefferson, who's the director of inclusion and culture for the Niners. So those 2 are just going to sit down with us and just kind of talk about the Niner organization, why they move this way, and some of the things that Niner Pride is trying to accomplish and what they're doing with that. But they're out there in front with the rainbow flag flying and inclusive, and want to make sure all fans, no matter who you love or how you love, that you feel welcome and included at Levi Stadium or wherever we go. So looking forward to that show as well. Just from an organizational perspective, they made a very big investment into that to stand with the community and incorporate all of that. So we're looking forward to hearing those conversations as well.
Very excited. And we have
And
we're doing another Women in Yoga series, and we have Maureen Montanero on, who
bam,
is a heavy hitter for us. Maureen kinda,
woo!
kickstarted our entire yoga journey, and she is the first woman that I studied with for my yoga teacher training, and she owned Hot House Yoga, which she has recently sold in Coralville and Iowa City, and is just you'll see.
Just
She's all of it, and I'm super excited. I've actually been working with her every week. And just to have that relationship with her and to stay connected to her has been really, really special. So I'm very grateful for that. And I'm so excited to just kind of introduce you guys to Maureen. And I feel like she really was like one of the seeds of inspiration for us starting to practice yoga and to navigate a lot of different things in our life. So I'm very excited to have her on the podcast. And yeah, everybody else is going to be wonderful too. It's going to be a good lineup. We
so
got a good month.
yeah, it is really good. And Maureen is, I mean, she's a witch and a queen in all those kind of special ways. But the one thing about her yoga, she always made it very accessible. You know what I mean? They were hard and like she pushed you, but nonstop coaching and cueing all the time. Like I
Amazing.
still like, like I'm in other yoga flows, 10 years later, and I can hear Maureen's voice versus the instructor I'm at, and I always do it Maureen's way. You know what I mean? Like if they conflict, you know. But here's my favorite. So you'll be like, I know, let's just take down dog, and she'll say, okay, take the front part of your left leg and twist the muscle internally while you take the back part of your right leg and twist it externally, and then the internal part of the right thigh and you're just like, I don't have 4 different directions I can go with that one muscle. But I mean, she's always like,
Yeah.
I still remember standing up in class one time, I go, Maureen, my thigh can't do all that. I don't know what, like what the hell. Anyway, she's hilarious though. So
But
that'll be really
talking
fun.
about like insane awareness of your own body,
Absolutely.
and like how
And
to
then,
cue that. Like she has to, I always think about that. I'm like, you have to be able to feel that to be able to cue that, and so talk about some deep inner awareness and like a seasoned yoga practice.
well, and the other thing too is like you can be in down dog, but then you can be in down dog. Like down dog can be like brutally engaged, you know what I mean, and active,
That was
just
such
like
a yoga quote.
well, you know what I mean though? Like you can kind of be hanging
I
out there,
do.
but really resting. But like all those poses, you can kind of get into it and just be there. But like, I don't know, like side angle, like if you're not active from your heel all the way to your hand, that
Yeah.
whole side body and your legs are fully engaged and you got to like, work it. It's just a whole different flow. And so anyway, I thought she always did a great job about that. Like this is active here, don't be sleeping on me and all that kind of shit. So anyway, okay, that's Maureen. Let's see. We talked about Mindful Mondays. I talked about the Warrior Series coming out. I haven't done it yet because it's not coming up, but the people can look forward to. Full moon in July is June
Yes.
20 or July 21st. This is called the Buck Moon, and it's exactly
What
named
is it?
that way.
July 21st?
July 21. Yep.
What's the
So
buck moon?
the Buck Moon is when the bucks are ready to rumble.
Oh, a little mating
Yeah.
season, or are we like
Little. Yep.
I actually saw
Well,
a buck today.
yeah, you got a bunch of them there. So
Mhm.
yeah, and I've actually seen several here lately, which is kind of I don't
Really?
see them quite as much exactly where we're at. Yeah, I was going down Old Pecos Trail, and this stud just stepped out in front of the highway and just gave me a stare. So that's another story. But anyway, yeah. And before the mating, there's the jousting. So anyway,
Yeah.
that I'm kind of getting into some of that stuff. So it should be pretty cool. So we'll talk about that and do a card drawing. So for those who like the medicine cards, and we'll go through all that. Okay. Well, that's almost a wrap, Em. Anything else?
Yes, the other incredible thing that we have going on in July, actually on 7/7, is Bruce and Jan's 40th wedding anniversary. That's a lot.
It's a long time.
That's a long time. You've been with mom the majority of your life.
Yeah. Yeah, I have. Funny how it works if you live and stay with it. So yeah, it's been 40, it's been yeah, on the horizon for a long time and kind of getting closer. And anyway, kind of, yeah, makes you kind of think about the years gone by and the things that you've done and all that kind of stuff, and you two little chitlins and all of that kind of thing, and the way the life has unfolded. So anyway, but it has been, it's like that Jimmy Buffett song. Can't remember the name of it now. Oh, he went to Paris, I think. But anyway, he talks about um, his life, and he just says it's some of it's magic, some of it's tragic, but it's been a good life all the way. And you know what I mean? And so everything doesn't always go the way you want, whether it's work and for folks who've been in long-term relationships, it ain't all cake, cake and ice cream. You
Yeah.
know what I mean? So there's some stuff to it. So anyway, but at some point it just kind of decided to stay on the path and figure it out. So anyway, and she is a woman committed to her path. There's no doubt about that. So anyway, all gratitude for that. So I told her the other day, she called me about something and said, I'm sorry I called you. And I said, you don't really have to apologize for your love. I mean, sometimes it can be a lot, but you know what I mean? Like in the grand scheme of things, if someone's worried about you or trying to take care of you or doing something and it's out of love in that kind of way, it's,
pretty lucky.
what are you going to do? Yeah.
There's a lot of love. Jen's got a lot of love.
A lot of love. Big old heart.
Telling her that I want her to be one of the mindful parenting guests, and she's like all nervous. She's like, I just like popping in. I don't know. So we'll see.
Okay. Well, we'll see.
Break down me and George.
Oh boy.
Maybe we'll do all four of us on the show one time.
Yeah. Yeah. We'll see about that. But anyway, so yeah, it's a big 4-0 coming up.
Well, happy that we get to be together for that. And last thing is, wow, July's got a lot going on. July has Receivers is going to be available on Netflix. And we're so excited because we're going to get to go to the premiere. So we all have our pretty little outfits picked out. And it's going to be really fun to celebrate and be with Claire and George and just the journey of creating that show and giving an inside look into what their lives look like during season. So that's going to be pretty cool.
Yeah. So kudos to Netflix and then NFL Films crew and all that kind of stuff. We've gotten to know them pretty dang well over the last year.
Yeah.
All that stuff. So, but the opening is the 9th at the Netflix Theater in LA. So we're all heading out to LA and we'll be around for that. And that should be really fun. I'm looking forward to that. I don't know if I've ever been to an official grand opening of anything.
A premiere? I've never been to a premiere.
Yeah. So I don't know. But anyway, I had to pull out the old black 3-piecer, I guess. And so we'll see how I look. Yeah.
Whoa. Amazing.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. I know. Look for it on social media, I guess. I'm sure.
Yeah.
Anyway, we're looking forward to that. It should be really fun. And just grateful that George had a chance to tell his story a little bit and be a part of that. And a lot of other really, really talented receivers who play the game at a very, very high level. So it's a very cool thing to be a part of. So.
Yeehaw. Okay. Let's do it. All right. So from wedding to receivers to all the new Hidden Pearl studio content to some amazing podcasts coming up, we have a lot going on. And I guess we'll just leave you with, if you need a little guidance, reset on your aura, or maybe you're noticing that you're taking on everybody else's stuff, or that you're feeling kind of shut off from certain parts of your life, that there are different practices and tools that you can use to build more awareness, to strengthen that connection, and just to be more present and connected to it all. So thank you so much for tuning into Hidden Pearls podcast, and we'll see you next time.
Aloha. Namaste.
Namaste.